Okay. What? Uh. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna watch the FNAF trailer. I know I'm like 20 days late after this, but yeah. Where is it? I only watched a bit of it, so yeah. Actually, no, I didn't even watch. I just skipped the entire thing. I should have reacted to this earlier, but yeah, I can't find it here. What's this account?
Welcome back. Are you ready to start the show? Count with me now.
I'm late to this, but I think I'd rather like, you know, yeah. Okay?
3,
They're out there,
my
Mike.
friend.
2,
Where?
1.
Everywhere.
This is like is this guy on the lunch?
Showtime!
The villain actor December 5th. I'm definitely gonna watch it. Watch that. Yeah. What? We're gonna have to spend 5 nights at Freddy's for the kill mangoes. Okay, I'll see what
First night of your honeymoon. How'd you mess this up? This looks good. And look, Visa. Secure core memories anywhere with Visa's 500 layers of security.
Five Nights at Freddy movie fans, we just got revealed the first teaser trailer for the movie. Let's watch it together. Okay, the FNAF poster.
Welcome back. Are you ready to start the show? Count with me now. 5, 4, 3,
They're out there, Mike.
2,
Where?
1.
Everywhere.
Oh, everywhere. I didn't hear that.
Yo, the toy animatronics look good.
I don't think it's in the location. I think the crime was just hunting them down everywhere.
Showtime!
It feels like they're leaning into the horror of it all. I gotta go back and take a look at some of these animatronics.
Unfortunately,
Okay, let's freeze frame on that. Freddy Fazbear in his toy animatronic form. I like it. There's this other shot, though, of Mangle. That looks a lot scarier. They did promise they're leaning more into the horror for this movie. I'm thinking it'll still end up being PG-13, but okay. This trailer looks promising. You excited? we have now gotten the teaser trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's 2, a movie sequel I've been highly anticipating because I don't even think Blumhouse knew how big of a hit this was going to turn out to be with fans. And they have made some major changes and upgrades on how they're planning to go about this franchise. So that's exactly what I'll be doing here for you guys in this video, is I'll be giving you my trailer breakdown for Five Nights at Freddy's 2, giving you my reaction to the trailer, pointing out little Easter eggs and details and things we have heard behind the scenes about what could happen in this movie. But I don't want to just be about my opinion. You Five Nights at Freddy fans, you always dig deeper. Let me know what you thought of this trailer. Are you a little surprised with the look of this movie? Do you think it'll be better than the last one? Would love to hear it all down below. Okay, so this teaser trailer got released online because of CinemaCon. Universal had a panel there, and when they were talking about their Blumhouse section, Papa Blum himself came out in a Toy Freddy costume. I mean, he looked great and all, but don't get me started on his Megan outfit. That's when he was strutting. But no, that was just a fun little gesture that I think fans can appreciate, and it should just really let you know how much they care about this franchise, especially with the money they've made from it. Which actually brings me to the next mystery involved with Five Nights at Freddy's 2 that I was super curious about. Are they going to release the sequel in theaters and on Peacock the same day, the way they did for the first movie? Heck freaking no. At the end of the trailer, it clearly states only in theaters December 5th, and they did briefly talk about it on stage that this will be theater exclusive. And that is the smartest choice to go if you want to maximize your profits with this franchise, because I don't think they were expecting the first Five Nights at Freddy's movie to be their highest grossing horror movie. So I'm really sorry if you were hoping you could watch the movie streaming in the comfort of your home. Ain't gonna happen this time. But now getting on to the actual trailer, we kick things off with looking at the Five Nights at Freddy's poster. Now this is actually a really great detail that calls back to the trailer of the first movie, where we got what I believe is the same poster. And the reason I think that this is a great symbolic gesture in the trailer is because in the video games, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is usually a prequel. Now because of a lot of shots within the trailer and our characters like Mike, Vanessa, and Abby dealing with the trauma of what they just went through in the first movie, this isn't exactly going to be a prequel. It's still a sequel following the events of the first movie, but to be faithful to the games, this movie is going to involve a lot of flashbacks and fill in the gaps with some of the mysteries into the movie universe's version of Five Nights at Freddy's, because as we've learned from the first movie, they have changed some lore up. Then we get a shot of what I believe is Mango's endoskeleton and a voiceover from William Afton, Matthew Lillard himself, saying,
Welcome back. Are you ready to start the show? Count with me now.
Giving us our first little bit in look to the fan event within the universe called FazFest. This is something that we've been seeing behind the scene photos of for a while now, and it's such an intriguing addition to the FNAF universe because there isn't exactly something like this within the video game world. FazFest in the movie universe is going to be a fan-held event for people who just really love the Five Nights at Freddy's pizzeria and want to celebrate its characters, games, and pizza. And this is an intriguing addition because I think it really expands out the Five Nights at Freddy's brand within the world, because the way it seemed in the first movie is like the pizzeria was a one-off restaurant and not many people even knew or talked about it. I mean, Mike didn't seem familiar with the pizzeria whenever he got hired for that job, but here we're gonna find out no, there's actually a large fan base for this. Fans still try to hold on to the legacy of what was those pizzerias, but also I think it's also just a clever way to be able to bring in fans of Five Nights at Freddy's and kind of include them in the movie. That's pretty much what I can expect from these FazFest scenes, and that it's just gonna be a commentary on the real life Five Nights at Freddy fans who cosplay and obsess about this franchise. We are then treated to a shot of Abby riding her bike, where we get our first glimpse of the second location for Five Nights at Freddy's. There was real speculation about how far away this second location was from the first one. I remember when the photos were coming out, I made a joke that, dang, does this town just have like 5 different Five Nights at Freddy's pizzerias that are all run down and out of business? What is this ghost town, and why does nobody like going to pizzerias? Probably because there was murdered children in them. But if the pizza's good, I'm still going. Later in the trailer, we get a shot of Josh Hutcherson's Mike, who gets a note on his door that reads, "Gone to fix my friends," which I can only assume is from Abby, and this is her riding her bike to that location. So this lets me know, yeah, this second location is in the same town. It's not in a different state or even that much more far away from the first location. If it is, then Abby is some sort of athlete in that bike, and she got way further than she needed to. But moving on to Abby wanting to go and fix her friends, this is another intriguing part and how our characters are going to get lured back into the universe. We were given a first look photo of this this toy that is kind of a speak and spell in the Five Nights at Freddy's universe. It's also rumored to be the thing we heard at the end of the first movie. And I can pretty much bet you this thing is going to be talking to Abby and eventually convince her to go to the Five Nights at Freddy's location. But funny enough that it convinces her to go to the second location, and to Abby it just makes sense that that's where her friends would be and not in the first location. From there we get a conversation between Mike and Vanessa where they're discussing where these animatronics are now, and Vanessa responds,
Where?
Everywhere.
which is also another fascinating part of this movie, and also lets you know the much bigger budget they have this time around, because we have several shots throughout the trailer of these toy animatronics going outside of the pizzeria and attacking people in schools, in their own homes, even what looks like the streets and a garage. Not my garage! Another kind of uncommon thing you don't see in the video games, but they're implementing into the movies. I think that makes it more scary, because yeah, it's like, well, as long as I don't go to the pizzeria, I ain't gonna be killed by the Faz gang. I'll be fine in the comfort of my home. Don't look like that's the case now in the second movie. They coming to you. Some really creepy shots of Toy Bonnie outside someone's window. Actor Wayne Knight, who seems to be a teacher or maybe a principal at a school. I'm guessing it's Abby's school, but he's lucky enough to end up spending 7 minutes in heaven with Toy Chica.
Me next, Chica, me next!
Nah, it was wild of them to include Toy Chica feet shots.
Perfect.
But I really gotta compliment the shots with these animatronics, because the Jim Henson Corporation has outdone.
Wait. Are they gonna? What are they gonna do to the teacher? Are they just gonna kill him, or like, you know, like in the mooks, they like this Charlie is like what, a weird animatronic person or something. Are they gonna replace him with an animatronic or something? Use more of those, like, I don't know, weird illusion discs. I don't really like that. I don't really like that part of the lore, but some weird illusion disc or something.
Done themselves again. Not only do they all look fantastic, but the trailer is much more leaning into that horror vibe with them. This shot of Mangle just popping through the window going after our friends, really eerie shot, and I'm a big fan of what looks like Toy Bonnie holding a screwdriver about to stab somebody, especially because it looks like Toy Bonnie's going after some characters that we aren't familiar with. A lot of theories on who these people are, but they could end up just being random pedestrians that the animatronics decided to go into their house. Maybe it's a scene similar to like Halloween 2018 where Michael's just roaming the streets, going into random houses and picking whoever he wants to stab. The animatronics might just be let loose on the town and picking random people to go after. But other quick moments in the trailer I kind of want to focus in on is we do get a shot of this hand that appears to be a man's hand pushing a Showtime button. Now we did get to see a Showtime button in the first movie, but that was on the wall. This one is more on a mechanical setup, and it's your guess whether this is going to end up being Matthew Lillard's William Afton or it's Henry Emily's arm, who we did find out, thanks to Cat FNAF, is going to be played by Skeet Ulrich. So funny that they have gotten the two Scream bros to end up being the bros of the FNAF universe. But just like in the Scream franchise, they are partners also in the FNAF universe, where Henry Emily helped William Afton build a lot of the animatronics. And funny enough, that's not even where the Scream connections end, because I was so shocked at the end of this trailer that we get a cameo from actress McKenna Grace. I was honestly so happy to see her in the movie. I don't think she's gonna have a large part. If anything, I think she's definitely dying a few seconds after this shot. But she is a big fan of the property. I think enjoyed the first movie enough to where she was able to get in the second film, and she is now part of the Scream family because she is showing up in Scream 7. It's speculated that she's gonna be
You need the best templates for your videos. Go to Motion Array to get unlimited, easy-to-use templates made by leading designers. They're completely custom.
paired up with Tay O'Brien's character. You might recognize him from the Chucky TV series, and he's also going to pop up in the new Final Destination movie to now also be in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Man's having himself a really nice horror run, but it looks like they might be a couple of paranormal investigators, or could quite possibly be just obsessed fans who attend things like the Fast Festival and are just trying to get footage to show online to the fandom when they end up meeting the animatronics, and even Mangle from the ceiling
location or something,
pulling up the kid. Really like that, because the movie's still going to be PG-13, guys. This movie is not going to be rated R. That's just something we're going to have to learn to live with.
They managed to put up decapitation someone getting decapitated in a PG-13 film, I think they can get away with it.
But if they can get creative with the way the kills happen and imply some really horrific stuff, I will be much happier. Doing something like grabbing a kid from the ground and pulling him up, that's pretty cool. Last kind of big details I want to talk about here before we get into William Afton is Balloon Boy. Looks like he got a bit of a makeover. He's a much more prominent character in the second video game, so I can only assume he's going to be much more prominent in this movie. It seems like he's also within the office of the pizzeria, although really obsessed fans have pointed out he is on the wrong side of the room because he usually pops out on the left side of the office, but here he's depicted as being on the right side. Throw the movie away. They got that detail wrong, dang it. A really crazy shot of what appears to be Vanessa driving, with then Mangle striking her car. This one shot alone really also lets me know how much more the budget has increased in this movie. Don't get me wrong, this movie still doesn't have the budget of like a Marvel movie, but you can bet that they are now willing to be a little bit more riskier with the budget on this film now that they know that there's a fan base and that people do show up for this. But ending things off with the two shots that really connect to William Afton, Matthew Lillard. We get one of him just down the hallway, aura farming, and what appears to be probably a dream sequence tormenting Vanessa. Throughout the trailer, she actually seems to be the most manic one, probably just dealing with a lot of the psychological issues of having your dad stab you. But if you really try to zoom in, it looks like he's working hard in his workshop tinkering on the animatronics. I really would not get our hopes up that we're going to get much more William Afton in this sequel compared to the last. We might be getting just about the same amount of screen time, because this was Matthew Lillard's face when he was asked about how much time he had in this movie.
Did you like filming Five Nights at Freddy's? Instead of like Twisted Animatronic, it's like
Yes, I wasn't there.
Are you more in the second one?
I don't know. I had like an insane idea where somehow somehow they're like toys and they managed to transform to like animatronics or something. I know this is a bit of an out there idea, so it's probably not gonna happen.
I am Voldemort. I'm Voldemort of the universe.
Yes.
And
So let's not NDAs up the wazoo, I get it.
Which really sucks for me because I was wanting a lot of Yellow Rabbit scenes. This one shot of him in the Spring Bonnie / Yellow Rabbit costume grabbing a knife, I got so hyped because those were the best scenes of the first movie. I need much more of them, especially if it's like a flashback scene to his early days going after some kids. But William Afton will be much more of a looming threat over the movie, not exactly the main antagonist. I think his time to shine and get the most screen time will come in the third movie when he's full on Springtrap. That's what I expect the post-credit scene of this movie to be, is him just kind of coming out as Springtrap, possessing that animatronic costume, maybe no longer being alive, but having some supernatural-like abilities, which again would upset me, but the way the toy animatronics are looking and how much more they're leaning to the scary side of things here, I can be okay with it. But that's pretty much some of the things I could catch from the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 trailer. I really want to know from you guys. Are you excited? Are you happy with the way things are looking? Let me know your theories and thoughts down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.
Effet Cloud Duo Plus M. Anti-imperfections proven efficacy on face.
Okay. What else is there?
You know, I've always asked, why do things have to be done the same old way? Take money for example.
So, the first major teaser for the second Five Nights at Freddy's movie was dropped, and today we're going to go over what was in it and what might be the plot of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Because despite it being called a teaser, it's very much a short trailer. Now keep in mind that this is very, very early, and a lot of this is speculation that probably won't come to fruition. My guesses tend to be all over the map. Like with the first FNAF movie, I actually did eventually guess before the movie came out that Vanessa was going to be Will or Steve's daughter. But I was wrong in thinking that she was going to be actively working with him. And my assumption that Vanny would show up has still not happened yet. Point is, listen with a grain of salt. Let's start by covering the teaser and what we see in it, then we can get to the speculation. We start with a broken poster, an endo lighting up, and a voice saying, "Welcome back. Are you ready to start the show?" It doesn't sound like that though. And shortly after starts counting down through the next few scenes. Throughout the trailer as well, My Grandfather Clock, the music box track, plays in the background. We see a clip of a Freddy-themed festival. There is a blonde girl here who looks a lot like young Vanessa, but that might just be a coincidence. Love her friend's Bonnie-inspired Coraline hair, though. We then cut to Abby riding up on her bike to a new Freddy's. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, the one with the toys. The place looks dilapidated, like it's been abandoned for many years. We cut to a note that Mike pulls off of a door. It says, "Gone to fix my friends," and is very likely, like almost certainly, written by Abby. There's then a shot of Vanessa standing outside. Hey, looks like she's out of the hospital. And she says, "They're out there, Mike." We then see a quick glimpse of Toy Bonnie looking through a curtain. Back to Mike. He asks, "Where?" Someone, a man, is pressing a button that says "Showtime." Back to Vanessa, and she says, "Everywhere." And then Wayne Knight shows up. Newman. Anywho, he's in a school peeking in a window when some very jaundiced-looking eyes appear. He screams, and then a yellow arm reaches through and snatches him. It's Toy Chica. We then see Toy Chica's feet, and then Mangle smashing in a window. Mike, Abby, and Vanessa are backing away, with Mike and Abby doing that hug thing that they did in the first movie, the one that I have a picture of and bring up occasionally. But they are not backing away from Mangle because the lighting is different. We then see Toy Freddy lifting a garage door. Now the lighting color is the same as in the other room, but the angle's not quite right. So either he opens the garage door before the shot of them, or this too is an unconnected shot. Then we see Toy Bonnie brandishing a screwdriver, which kinda looks comically small in his hand. And what's funny is when I first saw this, I thought it was an ink pen. Yeah, I don't think that'd get you very far, Bonnie. We then cut to a couple shirking from something, hiding behind their couch, holding each other. Maybe it's from Toy Bonnie, if he's, like, really tall. I can't get a reading on the shadow, so it might be him or it might be someone completely different. It might be Mangle crawling in through the ceiling. Then a bunch of, or the puppet. Then a bunch of hallway doors fling open to reveal what I'm pretty sure is Afton at the end. I can't get a reading on the shadow, so it might be him or it might be someone completely different. It might be Mangle crawling in through the ceiling. Then a bunch of, or the puppet. Then a bunch of hallway doors fling open to reveal what I'm pretty sure is Afton at the end. It could be a ghost of Afton, it could also be a hallucination or a nightmare sequence. Then we see Vanessa swinging out a gun, though we know this is not at Afton because now suddenly it's daylight. There's Balloon Boy in his normal FNAF 2 form and not the cartoonized Lucky Boy statue as shown in FNAF 1. And then William Afton in Spring Bonnie grabbing a knife. And what could be a flashback sequence or not? I can't remember if William Afton's hands got significantly scuffed up during FNAF 1, but if they did, that might be a good way to tell, but I'll explain later why I think this might be a flashback. We then cut to Mangle snatching someone I don't recognize. It's a woman with long brown hair. Then, a car getting its windshield broken in by what looks to be the end of one of Mangle's arms, though who's driving it is unclear. We get Mike holding Abby in what's almost a chokehold. Now, this lighting might work for the Mangle scene. And Vanessa is hiding behind them. We then hear a boisterous "Showtime!" Not like that. Which is likely Toy Freddy, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and then a cut of Toy Freddy walking through the Faz Fest. We also see a lady dressed up like Chica, and she even has a cupcake. Adorable. And that's the end for now. So what's the plot of FNAF 2? Well, we've seen some big clues so far. From what I'm taking from all this, the basic plot is likely this. The toy animatronics are hunting Mike, Abby, and Vanessa. Or maybe just Abby and Mike and Vanessa are simply in the crossfire. This is possibly because Abby went to their location and stirred them awake, but it's equally likely that they've been tampered with by Afton somehow, and he's the driving force behind the scenes, like he usually is, a la the Twisted Ones, where he stayed in the background after springwalking and used his animatronics to hunt down Charlie. They might also be attacking anyone who comes through their path, as they did in the Twisted Ones too.
Freaking comic is so weird, man.
Likely, the film is going to focus more on Abby. The first film had plenty of Abby, her bonding with like Golden Freddy and the animatronics and stuff. But in this case, she seems to have a little more agency of her own. And no Golden Freddy to guide her along, such as willingly leaving to see the animatronics and having a bike to bike herself around.
Too weird.
Plus also being the likely prime target, such as if the school scene happens nowadays, then that could be that the toy animatronics are following wherever Abby goes, and that's what leads them to the school. I'm pretty sure that all of the FazFest stuff is likely in a flashback towards the beginning of the movie, and how it'll go is that we'll see the FazFest, see a horrendous accident or event, likely orchestrated by Afton, and then cut to nowadays. That explains why the toy location is closed. There was this big, very public event that happened. But it is possible that not all of the toy attacks that we see in this trailer come from nowadays. Like, some of them might take place in the past. And like I said earlier, I also think that the scene of Afton in Spring Bonnie grabbing a knife is likely a flashback, because while I think Afton is involved, it's FNAF after all, I don't think he's going to be appearing much in this film. I'm thinking that with it being a trilogy and like the third entry is almost definitely going to be about Springtrap, likely we won't get a lot of current Afton. Save for flashbacks in the hallway scene, which could be a haunting. It could be that Vanessa is having hallucinations for some reason. That could set up some sort of Vanny situation in the third movie. But the point being, I think that we're seeing hints of Afton in this movie, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of Afton in this movie. Because it would be kind of weird to have them make Afton into Springtrap in the first movie, have them face Springtrap in the second movie, and then have them face Springtrap again in the third. Springtrap's that sort of thing that you kind of got to save him for the end.
This is your brain when you're struggling to focus. And this is your brain when you're in the zone. But getting in the zone and staying there, that feels more...
Anyway, as for Abby's friends, I think this note suggests one of two things. One, Abby goes to seek out the classic animatronics, possibly withered now, and they might come into the fold towards the end of the movie to fight off the toys, again a la Twisted Ones. Or Abby thinks the toys are her friends. Maybe they befriend her, maybe she just assumes they're friendly, and they trick her in an attempt to target her. There was a possible script page in the One Reel 4 Fake Pages Scott released that showed Toy Chica with Abby while Vanessa is in the back room getting squeezed by something, possibly Mangle. She looks back at the cameras and Vanessa agrees to give her the code to protect Abby. She feeds it to her, Abby puts it in, and Toy Chica says, "We've been freed!" Now, the scene still seems weird. Somehow Vanessa would be captured, but Abby would still not be aware that the toys are dangerous. Unless Toy Chica is using Abby's trust.
Are the toy animatronics possessed? Like, okay, there was like just one mini game in FNAF. Like, okay, what is it? The Save Them mini game, yeah. I'm not sure how much Scott is keeping up with his law, to be honest. Cause at one point I remember him saying that the Mad Pet's FNAF 2 theory is correct. Except for phone guy being purple guy and all. I mean, it's okay. Were there like six corpses? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's 5. Yeah, the Save Them mini game is definitely Yeah, the Save Them minigame takes place in the FNAF 2 location. It's weird. Save Them is Save Them the same as the missing children's incident. I think this movie might confirm it. Whether this like the Save Them minigame and the missing children's incident are two different events or the same event. I'm leaning into like leaning them into like two different events, to be honest. Like yeah. Two different events. Oh yeah, okay,
Rest of animatronics, like with the classics who were originally aggressive, but had to basically be shown who the real bad guy was. And if that's the case, they might...
honestly, if I was a girl and I became Toy Chica, I'm not sure if that would be an upgrade or a downgrade.
be using Abby's trust against her. And likely the "we're free" is some sort of code to let them leave the building. However, like I said, the scene feels off, so likely this isn't real. Unless, and I'm about to cover this...
For some weird reason, Scott made Toy Chica very attractive for some weird reason. I don't know why he did that.
Since there's not going to be a fourth movie involving sister location...
I'm not attracted to Toy Chica. It's just weird.
The toy animatronics are taking some inspiration from the Funtime animatronics.
Okay, you know,
regardless, I think it nails one thing. I definitely think that unlike the original movie's classic animatronics, were aggressive but misguided. From the feel of what we're seeing, I think the toys are going to be straight up villains. Maybe also misguided souls, but also maybe robots built by Afton to help him. Or maybe just tampered with. Maybe that's why Toy Bonnie brandishes a screwdriver in a way resembling how Afton wields a knife. I might be totally off kilter here, but the way I see it, if the toys were turned good like the classics, it could come off as a little redundant. Plus, if the classics or wizards do appear, I would appreciate some sort of clash between them. Especially since these ones are breaking down doors and stuff. These aren't the type of animatronics that can just be left to molder in a restaurant. Especially if they've been let loose. Not shown in the teaser, but Abby does apparently get an item known as a Faz Talker. It's a toy, sort of like a walkie-talkie Tamagotchi with Toy Freddy's face on it. I'm assuming she's going to be using this to either talk with the toy animatronics, or perhaps even the puppet. It sort of depends on if she finds it and is lured by whatever's texting with her to come find the pizzeria, or if she finds it at the pizzeria. Okay. Or it is possibly given to her by the toys, or found in like a lost or found somewhere. If this is the thing that initially lures Abby to the pizzeria, then it could be a sort of callback or reworking of the plotline with Cassie in Ruin when she's lured to the Mimic through a walkie-talkie. Or maybe just unconnected entirely. Moving on. Wayne Knight is gonna die. If you've seen Jurassic Park, you know that he's an expert at that. Jokes aside, I love Wayne Knight. He might be a background character, but I hope he's like this irate teacher at Abby's school who gets like one scene and then gets a U-2s. Vanessa's alive, and now seems to be a staple of the Schmidt household. Maybe. I don't think she's actually living with them. Something about her and Mike meeting outside somewhere to talk makes me think that they aren't. But she is in every scene Mike and Abby are in. Though, in hindsight, all of these clips could be from the same exact scene. Like I said earlier, movie will likely end with a Springtrap reveal, but I don't expect a real confrontation until movie 3, unlike the Twisted ones. And you might wonder why I'm bringing up the Twisted ones so much, and that's because the whole animatronics chasing someone around thing directly after Afton was spring-locked feels a lot like that book. Though, don't expect Abby to have a robot reveal, and Vanessa better not show up in a skin-tight red dress. She's coming in blue, or she isn't coming at all. Now, on to what you're actually here for. The puppet. We know the puppet will be a huge part of the movie, not just because of the codename Music Box and the Music Box music over the back of the trailer, but because it didn't directly appear in the trailer. You can always tell a character's going to be big when they don't show up in the previews. Like 6 from 9, doesn't appear in many, if any, previews if I recall. Didn't even appear in the mobile game, ended up being a major character and hands down the most popular character in the fanbase. It's these striped characters, I tell ya. So, what's the puppet's deal? Well, assuming the toys are all crazy killers, maybe the puppet is the one who's truly haunted? Sticking to FNAF's recent lore development of the missing 5, no wait, actually there's a 6th one. Likely the puppet is the MacGuffin of the movie, whether it is actually the one controlling the toys for some reason to get Abby, though I think that would be too similar to Golden Freddy in the first one, or it's like the big bad that appears last, maybe just to swing in during the climax for whatever reason. I feel like it's the key to stopping the major threat the toys pose, elsewise it wouldn't be all over the movie. Now, a while back, a listing for an actress playing someone named Charlie popped up, and I can't recall if it was ever debunked, so assuming it's real, and assuming there are flashback scenes, it's possible Charlie could be introduced into the movie as the puppet through one of those. Maybe at Fast Fest and during...
Like, if it's an adult, then she's gonna play like an adult Charlie. And that brings you to the question whether are they gonna bring like the Silver Eyes continuity? I mean, no, of course. I mean, are they gonna bring more elements from the Silver Eyes like that? I mean, are they gonna bring like the element from the Silver Eyes or something? I don't know. FNAF lore is kind of weird these days. They could try. It'll be kind of a weird fit, but whatever.
During the inciting incident. Though in a way, I think it's odd that we're kind of bringing Charlie into the story, if that is the case. And this isn't just me, it said save him queen. I mean, like, reframing FNAF for the movie. See, Mike was made to not be Afton's son, Vanessa was made to be Afton's daughter, she was brought back to the 1990s instead of existing in whatever decade security breach takes place in.
The 2030s.
William Afton didn't pick up the name Dave. So there's been some changes to the story to fit more into the movie's setting, because it's its own continuity. And I do think having the puppet be a character who we will only recognize by name alone might take out some of the emotional stakes that would have been had if it was, say, Garrett, Mike's younger brother, who disappeared, especially if we're looking at an audience who might have not played the games, because a reveal of Charlie is going to be most effective to people who are actively involved in the games and the books and stuff like that. That doesn't mean it would be a bad decision, but it does mean that it doesn't have the same oomph to it, I suppose you would say. Actually, notably, funny enough, Charlotte and Garrett both have names that sound like the Marionette. That might have been a coincidence, but I always assumed that Charlie's name was purposefully chosen to sound like Marionette, unless it was a happy accident. Point is, frankly, I'd be fine if the puppet was either of these characters, just as long as it shows up for more than a few minutes and I get to see it wiggle around. That's not what makes me nervous about the puppet possibly being Charlie, though. What makes me nervous is the possible introduction of Henry, likely in the 3rd movie. People think I hate Henry. I do not hate Henry. In fact, I actually like Henry because he's such a complex character to dissect. And I think that's where the confusion comes in. Me dissecting a character and saying things like, he really let Charlie down, and so on, that's not me disliking the character. As a matter of fact, that's me enjoying the character, because the character's fleshed out enough that I can actually make those assumptions about them. That being said, there is a big concern when it comes to bringing Henry into the movies. Henry is, and always has been, a huge attention sponge. In the games, he basically overtook everyone else's ending, even denying the main character, Michael, any agency. And in the books, Charlie's big moment of finding herself and going up against her doppelganger is basically stolen by the whole Henry's woe and pain backstory, all framed around him. Let me tell you, if we have 2 movies of Mike, Abby, and Vanessa taking on Afton with their animatronic friends, and then suddenly Henry comes in to save the day at the last second, it's not going to feel like a triumphant callback. It'll feel like Mike's sitting there with his thumb up his... You get the picture. Yeah. We don't want another Michael Shafton incident, especially if Circus Baby's there or Vanessa's brainwashed into being Vanny. Then it'll feel real cluttered.
Weird,
of course, there's always the possibility that William is actively running around in the movie, Charlie isn't the puppet, and Vanessa has a twin sister in cahoots with dear old dad. But we'll just have to see. I think it's too early to predict if the movie's going to be good or not. That's something we won't be able to get a read on until, we actually see it. But it certainly looks like there's going to be a significantly bigger threat now that the animatronics aren't largely confined to the Pizzaplex.
Yeah, that's what
and that will no doubt make the movie much more tense. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes.
But whatever.
That's it.
It's
not really much else to say. Okay, actually, one thing to say. I think that not adhering to FNAF 2's original premise of being a prequel to FNAF 1 was absolutely for the best.
I mean,
or at least the movie taking place mostly
setting,
in the current time was a good choice. There was also a brief theory that Mike's fellow security guard Jeremiah, the one from the beginning of the movie, the Jeremy stand-in, would be the main security.
I know that's kind of weird to say about FNAF game. I mean, I don't know, it's like the games, the main focus isn't the plot. I mean, it is, I mean, there's lore, but there's no plot. I mean, there's a lot of lore in the FNAF 2, but in terms of the plot of the game, it's just you watching Five Nights, and that's it. There's a lot of lore, but the plot isn't the focus. Since this is a movie where the plot is the focus, they can't really make this a prequel. So they can't really be cryptic in terms of the lore drops they have.
Security guard of the new location, and perhaps the main character, because Jeremy, remember Jeremy, FNAF 2. But that doesn't look to be the case, because he didn't even so much as show up in the teaser. There's always an inherent risk when you choose to make a sequel and focus on different characters than the main cast of the first movie. It's not always a recipe for disaster, but we've certainly seen disasters come out of it. And the same goes for if the whole movie took place in the past. It's easier to move forward than backwards. I think the only exception to the rule would be that one Final Destination movie, which I won't name since it's a big spoiler.
5.
So,
it's Final Destination
I was
5.
admittedly pretty concerned about how the second movie would handle the prequel aspect, because I foresaw if they tried to suddenly rip away from Mike, Abby, and Vanessa and went back into the past for the entire movie, I didn't see that feeling very natural. But it looks like they're just kind of briefly looking back into the past before moving forward with the current story, and I feel assured I think that was a way better choice. Okay, so I guess that's really all I have to say here. FNAF 2's coming out in December, and we'll see how it turns out. Anyway, thank you for watching.
What's the hottest FNAF 2 animatronic? I'm not watching that video right now. Yeah, so that's my analysis and reaction to it. So yeah, I mean it's a like a 1 minute teaser. That's not much anyway. So yeah, bye.